Playboy, you made that beat.
It's your boy Italy. I'm back at it again with a very special guest. What I'm glad one he allowed me in his gym. Again, 3-time state tournament finalist.
Yep.
Boerne. No, let me get it right. Not Boerne Champions. Not get confused. Boerne Greyhounds now in 5A basketball, and I had the head coach, Coach McHone. Let's talk, Coach.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I started to stumble on my words a little bit, but I get excited because when I talk to you guys like yourself, again, you've been to the state tournament 3 times in a row, correct?
Correct. Yep. We went in 23, 22, and 21.
I didn't send you any questions about this, but let's talk about that. That right there gets me excited because only
Sure.
you and Coach Cantu are the only two that did it more than 3 times, correct?
If that's what you say,
Yes, yeah.
I'll
He
go
actually
with
went
it.
He actually went 4, and you
Right.
went 3. And right now, I did my homework, and right now, I don't recall anybody going more than 3 times. You two are the 2 A-list guys. Now, again, we got
Okay.
coaches that's been, but the consecutive part is the part that makes me excited about it because I know how hard it is.
Yes, for
And
sure.
so, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how were you able to do that like that consecutively?
Um, you know, we did it kind of with 2 different groups of kids. The first time we went was the COVID year, and we didn't get to actually play that semifinal game in the dome. But that was a group of kids that we were really high on. We had some seniors who are still playing right now. They're playing. I have 2, Ben Phillips and Luke Wigby, who are playing at Howard Payne right now. Our point guard that year was Rashawn Galloway, who's catching up at Texas State. So, and then Houston Hendricks was a freshman at the time, and so it was kind of like that group kind of finally broke through. We'd been to regional tournament a couple times and just never kind of get over the hump. We got over the hump that year, and then the guys who were behind them kind of saw all that. They were sophomores. A lot of them were sophomores at the time. They were with us but didn't get to play, and they were the group that went like kind of the next 2 years. They went kind of their junior and senior year. We had a young man named Devin Stiles who was on both those 2 out of the 3 teams there. That was a really, really good high school basketball player, and just had great chemistry. Those kids they were really close. They were good friends off the court, and I think like once you go once, then you really kind of feel like that's your spot. Like you belong. Like you need to go back. And then we did it a second time, and then we did it again the third time. I think kind of with that same feeling, like this is just what we do now. We just kind of get there, and knowing I've kind of talked about it a little bit, when you don't go, you feel like, oh man, somebody took our spot, even though that's not the case. Obviously, those teams earn that spot, and that's their spot. But you go a couple of years in a row, and you kind of feel like that's your spot. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. So those were 3 great years, great runs. Enjoyed every bit of it. I wish we could have got a couple wins at the Alamo Dome, but that's hard to do. We played some really good teams and played really tough. I think we represented our town, our community really well in the program. So very proud of those 3 teams for sure.
And that's the crazy part about it all. I when you guys went that last year, I just started the media company. Me and my business partner Chad Foster. So we just started kind of getting into it, and I didn't follow you guys, but I promise you, I wish I would have started following you then because man, that was to me that was a great story about you guys. You guys were like, I'm not gonna say the underdog, but no one really knew that much about the Boerne guys as far as Again, you went 1 year, COVID year, second year, and that third year was just like you said, it was like normal to you guys, and that's how you treated it. So that's why I think you guys
Yeah.
had the success you had just leading up to that, and then you played some tough games leading up to that. It was
Oh,
like
for sure.
we're gunning for you. They were like, hey, we want to play Boerne. We want to play Boerne. And I do remember that part of it all, to where, though, yeah, they didn't care if you were 4A or, they were just like, hey, you got to play Boerne. They are the defending champions of, going to the state tournament.
Yeah.
So
I
out of
mean,
this region.
we had some battles with Somerset and Stafford. I mean, a couple of those games could have easily gone their way. And it was just, it was a, it was just it was a great time. It was really good basketball, really good games, very competitive, back and forth, back and forth. And, I think being in Region 4, sometimes like you said, you're not really expected to do much when you get there. And like I said, we were very close all 3 years. We lost one in overtime the second time we went. The first time we went, we were actually up late in the fourth quarter, and then the third time, which I think might have been like one of our better teams, but we played Washington, and they had a guy that's at Texas A&M right now. So, that was tough to overcome, but played them really, really close. And like I said, proud of those three teams for going up there and playing really, really well.
Well, I just want to make sure everybody knows that fact about Boerne and what you guys have accomplished already and what you're looking forward to accomplish. Because again, a lot of people don't know that part about, hey, you guys represented the San Antonio area and Region 4, and actually going to the state tournament 3 times in a row is just something that, again, you don't get to do. I don't care what level it's at. Like everybody used to kind of criticize Cole for doing it at the 3A, but hey, it was just the guys he had and what they would do in their AAU seasons, kind of the same thing for you. And it was like, to where as though, hey, listen, that's hard to do.
Yeah,
like you said,
for
because
sure.
Somerset has some dudes, and again, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
No, and I always tell people we don't get to decide what division we're in or what district we're in. UIL decides all that. So, you have to play who they tell you to play.
And that kind of brings me. But before I start my question, I just want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, a little bit as far as how long you've been coaching up there in Boerne and prior to, and just a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, I come from a coaching background. My dad is Morris McHone, and he was, head coach of the Spurs for a little while. So I grew up around coaching, grew up around basketball. Been doing it now in high school for 35 years, 20 plus years now in Boerne. Stan Leach, our athletic director, brought me to Boerne. I was his assistant coach for a couple years. Learned a great deal from him, and then was fortunate enough when they reopened Boerne to get the job, and then I've been here ever since. My son's a coach. He's an assistant coach at University of South Florida. So, we're kind of a generation. Kind of got 3 coaches here going. So I feel like it's in my blood. Griffin and I and my dad, we talk I talk to one of them probably every day about what's going on and our team, their team, things like that. So been doing it quite a while, and I really like Boerne and really, really like where we are.
Well, again, I think you being there, Boerne, the length you've been there, I think shows that you really like it, because again, you had some great success out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
hey,
we have,
let's
and we had a lot of success. Obviously everybody knows Coach Leach. 800 something wins and stuff. So there was a lot of success here in Boerne before I got here. So I feel very fortunate that we were kind of able to carry on the torch a little bit at Boerne High School and kind of continue that winning tradition. Because like I said, there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good players before I got here and stuff, and we're just happy to be a part of kind of that history.
Well, you're doing a great job, and that kind of brings me to our first question in reference to the whole realignment and the playoff structure. What's your thoughts on that, as far as like, how will you guys, because you're one of the teams that I've been asking everybody about, and hey, who's who? I brought you up to Coach Clark out there out of Wagner. And so you're one of the teams that the spotlight's on right now. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I think anytime that you jump up a classification, it's going to be a challenge, anytime you do that. So we're moving obviously from 4A to 5A. So that's going to be a big challenge. And then, we're in the high school version of the Big 12. Our district, it's just stacked from top to bottom. I mean, there's not an easy game in it. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be people beating other people that you maybe look one day and go, man, how did that happen? And you can look back to this video, and I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Teams, because it's just tough. And then those are all challenges. Don't get me wrong; those are big time challenges for us. But the thing that concerns me the most is the fact that how long of a season it is. We start district December 3rd, and we've always relied on football players. And we have several football players who more than likely are still going to be playing football at that time. So you're talking about the challenge. The challenge to us as a staff is, how do we navigate that? How do we kind of survive them and kind of be in survival mode, or whatever you want to say, but before football gets here, or football guys get here, and then once they get here, how do we acclimate them to what we're doing? And it's going to be hard to completely change systems, right in the middle of district and things like that. So, those are all big challenges in front of us. And so, it's the playoff structure. I think with the small school, large school, it kind of takes your focus off of, to me anyway, for us, it takes our focus off of, winning district, because you don't really get, like last year we won district, we got to play the fourth place team in the other one. Well, that's not really so right now, because you don't know who you're going to play, because you're just going to go large school, small school. And so right now we're just trying to battle to get into that playoff spot.
Okay, smart. And then not only did it affect you guys for the realignment in the new playoff structure, but it also did affect your football team also, correct?
Yeah, they moved up to 5A Division II. And so, they're kind of the same way. But, I just feel like we have a really good program out here. Obviously, Coach Hendricks and his staff, they do a great job with our football team. And if they play into, like I said, if they play into December, then we're going to be, we open up, we get to open up with Vets Memorial. So, we could be down a couple of guys for that game. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see where it falls.
And I totally understand that. So real quick, so let's talk about your coaching philosophy, because you got to deal with some of those changes and some of your strategies. How are you trying to, or how do you get everybody to kind of buy in on that as far as what your philosophy is and your strategies?
Well, when I got here, the one thing that we wanted, because I kind of knew that we were going to go back and forth with, needing football players and things like that, because it's high school sports. If they want to play two sports, we want them to go out there and do that. And there's some very successful guys that have played both football and basketball for me. And so we wanted something to where we could say, this is what we do no matter who we have. We're going to play this way, because in high school, you don't get to pick your players. You get what you get. You don't get to go out and recruit your point guards and things like that. So, I decided to do that on the defensive end. So we're mainly, and everybody knows it's not a secret. I'm not, telling you something that I'm trying to hide, but we're a 2-3 zone team. That's our base defense, and everybody kind of knows that. And we want to be really, really good at it. And we want to teach guys to play their positions so that from one year to the next, they can just jump in and play that. Because I think offensively is kind of dictated by who you have. One year you might be guard oriented and you might be post oriented. And one year you might have a really, really good player that you want to touch the ball every time down the floor. So we want to be able to be flexible with that, but then be really good defensively, because we've taught them kind of the same thing from when they were freshmen to sophomores to juniors to seniors. They can come right in off the football field and help us right away.
And that's the difference a lot of people don't know when it comes to the 4A, 3A, and lower numbered schools, to where though you guys do rely on the football guys a lot.
Right.
And that's hard a little bit sometimes for you. That is a challenge, I'm sure, right?
Oh, yeah. Because I look at the teams that are in our district, and I don't know that anybody else really relies on them as heavily as we do. So that's going to be a challenge. That's one of our big obstacles that we've got to figure out how to do that. Kids are willing. Kids will do it. We're all, they're all friends. They all pull for each other. And just as a coaching staff, we got to figure out how to do it.
So it kind of leads into my next question in reference to your development, the player development But one thing I noticed when I watched you guys play the 2 times I watched you play this past weekend here at Tim Littlefields league he has, and then 2 weeks ago at the Gas. So all your players have high basketball IQs. I noticed that your guys they think the game and you can see it the way you guys play. What approach do you have to help make sure not just the player development is happening, but also you maintain that high basketball IQ?
Yeah, we try to spend a good part of, especially early in the season, like right now, a good part of our practices every day on fundamentals. Like I'm talking about basic fundamentals. Your, jump stopping, passing, your old school 2-man passing drills, where we're bounce passing, overhead passing. Today we worked really hard on V cutting because I didn't think we did a really good job yesterday V cutting to get open. And so we worked on V cutting, and then we want to spend a lot of time shooting the basketball, shooting, dribbling, passing, and it kind of all ties back in with that zone defense philosophy, because I know we can just pick that up pretty quick, where you got a limited amount of time. We don't have all the time in the world that we want to work on everything, and so we really focus practice on offensive skills, dribble, passing, shooting, and then trying to break all that down inside of our offense, do breakdown drills that are stuff that they're going to be doing out on the floor. And then just, try to put them in, we've kind of started doing a lot of, 4-on-3 type stuff, 5-on-4, where you actually have an advantage on the offensive end, but and it helps with the IQ thing. You have to, you got to find that advantage. You got a little bit of advantage, you got to go find it. So we just kind of repped all that stuff out, a lot each and every day.
So since you have a short amount of time, how do you get in your strength and conditioning for your guys? Because
yeah, that's a great question. And we're taking advantage of it for sure. That, during COVID, UIL said you can do strength and conditioning after school if you're out of season. And so we do, we go about 4 days a week. We'll spend time conditioning and strength training as well. And that says a lot to our kids, they do the athletic period during the day, and then they stay an hour after school, 30 minutes, probably more like 20 minutes or so running, and about 30 or 40 minutes, in the weight room. And it's starting to pay off. We're really starting to see our guys really kind of get stronger, get in better shape, and things like that, because we know the grind's coming.
Right. The gauntlet's about to come December 3rd.
No doubt. No doubt.
So how do you take all of that and you create that culture, that winning culture for your program, and have that team camaraderie? How do you put all that together and add those pieces to the puzzle?
One thing that we really like to do is when we start, making playoff runs, is bring younger kids with us. Even though they may not play, we want them to suit up and go through that experience and sit there on the bench and see it, because you'll be surprised at how many of these guys who have done that or then took over the position of playing and just kind of feel like that, hey, they've got to carry the torch. They got to be the next group or the next guys up, to keep that tradition going. So that's one of the things that we like to do. We do quite a bit of team bonding and building during the season with meals and activities and things like that. So, and then, they're all friends. I mean, they're out here in Boerne, and they all kind of hang out with each other, and they go to football games together and stuff like that. So, it's not as hard as maybe it is in some places because of that, because our kids are so close and do things together. So it's really good.
So next question is in reference to your feeder schools. I know your feeder school you can go to either, because you guys have an open district, if I'm correct. You can go to either Boerne Champions or Boerne.
Yeah.
So how do you go about identifying who's going where, and then how much involvement are you with your actual feeder schools? I think you have, is it 2 or 3 schools? Yes.
So we have 3 middle schools out here. Right. And as you said, like basically here in Boerne, when you're a freshman, you get to choose which school you want to go to. So to be honest with you, we don't know where they're going, They could go to South and come to Boerne High School, or they could go to Boerne Middle School North, which feeds into us, and go to Champion. And so you really don't know. I try to stay as available as I can to all the junior high coaches, but I really kind of just let them run their programs. I go to as many games as I can, like you said, to try to identify, maybe who are some of the better players, and just see if where they're leaning. Are you for sure going to one school, or are you leaning towards the other? And then Coach Adamack and I are a Champion. We really don't want to get out and recruit kids. We just let them choose. I mean, you got Boerne High, you got Boerne Champion. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either one. And to be honest with you, most kids have kind of stayed along their feeder paths. Most of the kids that attend South, they go to Champion. Most kids that attend North go to Boerne, and then Voss is kind of a split. They are a third middle school. Because kids want to go to school with their friends. They want to go to school with the guys that they grew up with and play sports with and things like that. So I try not to worry about that too much. If they show up as freshmen, we take them and go from there.
So my next question is adversity and challenges you have as far as being there. Can you describe a few of the challenges you guys have had? I know, moving up this year is going to be probably one of the ones you want to mention. You can, but can you just talk about some of the challenges that you guys have had in the past?
Yeah, I think in the past, the biggest challenge to me has been the fact that we've had kids come in so late. Important kids, our football guys, and so for a while there we were basically talking about our team as like, this is team one, and then when we get everybody else out, that's going to be team two. And we need to do right now what's best for team one. How many games that is. Say we play 15 games until we get everybody, so that's team one. And then when we get everybody out, that's team two, and make adjustments and stuff like that, and do what's best for team two. And that's what makes this year so challenging, is that I don't have time for that. Because we're already going to be in district. And so I think that what we're about to face is probably the biggest challenge as a coach that I've had since I've been here. And just trying to figure out how to mesh all of that together.
So going forward, and we talked a little bit when I came to visit you, we talked about, how you watch tape on teams, and now things are going to be a little bit different because, you're going up to the 5A part. So how is that preparing? How are you going to prepare the boys of watching tape and scouting teams going forward?
Oh yeah, I think that's very, very important for us. We always try to do a really good job of scouting, and like I said, if you put and that's one of the reasons why we like the zone so much defensively, because I'm not trying to write down every little man set that that those guys are running, and we're looking for some specific things to help our guys personnel wise, and who can shoot and who can't, and things like that. So it really helps us scouting with our defense, and then we have a great booster club. I mean, anything video wise that we need, any programs that we need, we might be one of the few schools out there that actually use Huddle and Synergy all together. And so that's a big advantage to us, that they give us the tools that we need to like watch film and break it down and show the guys. And I mean, we're doing it now, with our practices and stuff. So that's a big part of it. Watching yourself and learning, I think, is a huge part of it. But these kids today, you got to do in little increments, right? You got to set it up to where they can, if you can put it on their phone, they'll watch it.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, so we try to get it on their phone so they can see it and things like that.
So with all this being, because you are a teacher, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So being a teacher, being a coach, being a dad, and being a husband, how do you juggle all that, Coach? How do you make all that work for you and your program? Because again, a healthy you is a healthy program overall.
Yeah.
So how do you manage all that?
No doubt about that. Well, first of all, you got to have a great wife, and I do. So, you got to have a great support system in your family, because it is busy. I mean, it's not even season, and I got home today at 5:30. Because we were at strength and conditioning. We haven't played a game yet. So, And I have a great support staff here at the house, and with my wife, my daughter's in town with her husband, and and then you got to have a great administration, like at Boerne. They understand the hours and stuff that coaches put in, and try to alleviate, if they can, obviously, some of the work that you do at school and things like that. So, but it's all fun. I wouldn't do anything else for sure.
So my last question: if you had advice, or you were a mentor to a younger coach, what would you tell them to prepare themselves for, or how would you kind of guide them along the way of their first or second year of being a high school coach?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, maybe two things. One is that you have to develop relationships with your players, before you can tell them anything X and O wise, they have to know that you care about them. And, as I get older, I start to realize that, more and more and more and more, is that you got to invest in their lives, not just in basketball. What are they doing outside of basketball and things like that? And then two, you just got to be yourself. You can't be scared to do something that you believe in, or that you think maybe is best for your team. And that's, not, for example, not a lot of people play zone. Not a lot of people believe in it. We believe in it,
Right.
and that's just who I was told one time, you always want to be the curveball team in the fastball league, and so we're trying to be that team, and that's kind of a philosophy of mine that I kind of believe in. I want to believe in, and I think it comes out with how we play, but that's who I am, and I want my team to be that. So I think that's it may be great, it may look great if you're picking up full court man to man. If you've got a team that can do that, that's great, but we can't do that.
Right.
That's just not who we are, and so we need to be who we are, not who we're not. And I think you just got to be comfortable in your own skin enough to go, hey, this is who we are. This is what's best for my team, and this is what we're going to do.
So all right, Coach. So before we go to the rapid fire, can you give the audience something that they don't know about you, like a fun fact?
Yeah, I love to cook.
Yeah.
I love to
Do you
cook.
really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
What's the meal what's the dish that you mastered?
pork ribs.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Are we
Oh,
on the
we're on a
charcoal?
Traeger. We're on a Traeger. We're on a smoker.
Oh,
Yep. But I also have a
okay.
Blackstone and I have a Weber kettle, so I have three different.
Oh, you
in
talking?
my
Yeah. See,
backyard.
yeah.
Yeah.
You talking right now, Coach?
Yeah. And so, in fact, before I got here, we did breakfast. I did some breakfast. I did bacon and eggs out on the Blackstone tonight. So, yeah,
Ooh.
something I started doing during COVID, and I really enjoyed it. And the problem is, I like to eat too, so that's a problem.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Coach. Well, look, man, I'm gonna wrap it up for you. I think I took enough of your time, and I really appreciate you allowing me to have this time with you. Um, Last question: Are you a Dallas Cowboys fan?
Um, I would say I'm not a big NFL fan. So,
Okay.
but if I did have to pick an NFL team, I would say Cowboys.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I want to make sure. All right. So I'll flip the second one. But all right, who you have between Dallas and Pittsburgh this upcoming weekend?
Well, Dallas. You got to go with Dallas always,
Dallas.
right?
Okay. No worries. No worries. All right. This past weekend, I know the game happened already, but I had to ask: Alabama or Georgia? Who'd you have?
Oh, I was pulling for Alabama.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was pulling for
Okay.
Alabama. I didn't think they would
Okay.
win, but I was pulling for them. I really thought Georgia would win, but no, I was. I'm an Aggie, so I always, two people I pull for every year is every Saturday is A&M and whoever's playing Texas. So
Got it. Got it. You have to. Yeah, you have to say that. You have to
I
say
have to say that. Yes.
that. You have to say that. I got you. I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. Hamburgers or hot dog?
Oh, hamburgers,
Okay. Pizza or calzone?
pizza, thin.
Two part. Two part. Oh, thin. I love the thin too.
Yeah.
Two-part wings question: Buffalo or barbecue?
Oh man, that's a good one. I would split that. I'd go 6 buffalo, 6 barbecue. How about
That's
that?
fine. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. All right. Here's the second part: flats or drums?
Drums.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. LeBron or KD?
MJ. How about that one?
Well, that's an easy one, Coach. That's an easy
Yeah.
one. That's an easy one. I'm trying to keep it relevant to today's
KD.
basketball.
KD.
KD. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
KD.
Okay. All right. And then what was the last one? Yeah, last one is winter or summer.
Oh, winner.
Really?
Yeah, basketball season.
True. Facts, facts, facts. That's true. That's true. Well, hey, Coach, again, thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you.
Well, I
Again, man,
appreciate you having me. This is
hey, listen,
fun. Thank you
I
so
want
much.
I want so many people to understand and know your program and what you're doing out there. You're doing a great job out there. So please continue doing what you're doing, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Yes, sir. And you have a good one, okay?
Okay, you too.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.